We don't march and protest because we like to march and protest. All we want to do is be free.
Shaun King.
From New York, Shaun King. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Today I'm not going to beat around the bush. Donald Trump needs to be impeached. As you all may know, the majority of Americans now believe that Donald Trump should be impeached, including Republicans are beginning to say that. Not Republicans in Congress, but some Republicans are crossing over and they believe it as well. But as always, black folk both in and out of Congress were the very first people to speak up and call out his illegal and unethical behaviors, including Congressman Al Green and Congresswoman Maxine Waters, who said this 2 years ago. Right now, the majority of the members of the House support what we call an impeachment inquiry. In legal terms, the impeachment inquiry is basically like convening a grand jury to review the case against Trump. It's not the impeachment itself. It's just convening the body to discuss it. But on Tuesday afternoon, Donald Trump did something that truly shocked me. And listen, it's hard to shock me at this point, but Trump is an altogether different person. He issued a formal letter on Tuesday simply stating that he will not be participating in the impeachment process. He won't be turning over documents. No matter what Congress requests, he won't give it to them. He won't attend any hearings. He has now advised his own team, including members of his administration and members of his own personal staff and businesses. He has now advised them, anybody, including anybody out of the White House, to not participate in any hearings. It's unprecedented. Never in American history has a president of the United States simply looked at Congress and said, I will no longer do anything you ask me to do. And I've said this 1,000 times on the show, but to say it again, it's hard to know a moment in history when you're in it. History is hard to see and understand when you're in the middle of it. Just like it's hard to understand the size and scope of a storm when you're just in your house because you kind of lack the perspective needed to see the whole storm. History is the same way. And right here, right now, our nation has just pivoted in a very dangerous way from democracy to a form of dictatorship. And I don't mean that as hyperbole. I'm not trying to be fancy with my words. At this point, in which the president of the United States does what Trump did this week, flat out saying that he will not participate with any impeachment inquiry from Congress, our nation is facing a constitutional crisis, and I think our government really doesn't know what to do about it. Now, we knew a moment like this was coming. Even on this show, we've talked about impeachment for years. But where we are right now, it's different. By denying the request of Congress, Trump is obstructing justice. That's illegal. But he has now said, and his Justice Department has said, that you can't indict a sitting president. They're basically saying that the president of the United States is above the law. He's above accountability. That he can do whatever he wants and that he can extend that power and that privilege to whoever he wants to extend it to. And here's where we are. Congress should begin holding anyone and everyone who refuses to participate. They should hold them in contempt, and they should immediately jail them as a result. But it appears, and I even spoke to several congressional staffers about this yesterday, it appears that Democrats in Congress don't want to do this, perhaps because they are afraid that doing so, for instance, Rudy Giuliani said that he will not testify. It's not a power that he has. You can't just say, I won't testify. Well, Congress should hold him in contempt and should jail him until he agrees to testify. But it appears that Democrats in Congress don't want to make that move, perhaps because they are afraid it's going to set off a violent conflict or that it's going to escalate matters so severely that it might plunge our nation into an even more problematic place. But to me, it has to happen. Every day, Trump is pushing the envelope and lowering the bar to see what he can get away with. I don't have time to break it down, but what he did even this week with the Kurds giving Turkey permission to invade Syria is one of the most cowardly, despicable moves in modern American history. What Trump did on phone calls with Ukraine about Joe Biden and his son, Hunter Biden. And listen, I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I'm a public critic of Joe Biden. What Trump did, using his office and the power of his presidency to try to get a foreign government to investigate his political rival, it's not just wrong, it's illegal. And it fully appears that Trump was withholding foreign aid to Ukraine, which he doesn't have the power to do. He was withholding that aid that was approved by Congress until they agreed to an investigation. That's extortion. And earlier this week, when Congress ordered Trump's ambassador to come and testify about all that was going on with Ukraine, Trump then ordered the ambassador not to testify. That's illegal. That's obstruction. This is where we are. And it's gotten to the point where I truly wonder that even if this man loses the election in 2020, if he'd even step down then. He regularly alludes, he has now mentioned 17 different times the possibility of having a third term. Now, he'll say he's joking, but he mentions these things for a reason. The man is dangerous, and Congress must fully use all of their authorities on impeachment, and they're not doing it, and they need to do it immediately. Listen, I've got to run. This is a completely big shift of gears, but I want to congratulate Stephen Reed for being elected the new mayor of Montgomery, Alabama, the first African-American mayor ever of Montgomery. And we're winning in cities, particularly all over the South. I mean, we're leading in Jackson, Mississippi, in Birmingham, in Montgomery. And so in some places around the country, we feel like we have no power. But in America's cities, we're taking power all over the country. Proud of Stephen Reed. He's a truly good guy, great leader. And he's somebody I think we'll hear about for years to come. Take care, everybody.
And what, Talladega?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Ragland.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All over the place.
All right. All right, Shaun.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.